Hey everyone, hope everything's going good. Welcome to our most recent video blog. And this one we're gonna really focus on something that's really been on my mind a lot lately, and that's been sales. Not only are we personally trying to grow our sales infrastructure as a publication or a media company, but it's something I talk about a lot when I'm networking with other business owners, when I'm spending time with friends that own their own businesses. And it's just something that is kind of continually on my mind. One of the reasons personally is because my background isn't necessarily in sales. My background comes primarily from editorial, journalism background. I've done design, I've written for newspapers, magazines, I've edited books, you have it. And that's been primarily my role throughout my working career. However, as most of you are watching this, when you start your own business and you own your own business, sometimes you have to cross over and learn some things that you might not be as comfortable with or may not have been as comfortable with prior. One of those for me was sales. It was important that I read up as much as I could about sales. I purchased books that a lot of other media consultants and publishing ad reps had actually read these books, and I thought they were successful, so the books worked for me. So without further ado, let's walk into some tips. We just passed tip number 1. If you don't really understand something in your business and you know that you have a weak point, you should read a book about it. Specifically sales. There are millions and millions and millions of books out there just on sales. There's books on sales for breweries. There's books on sales in general, people-to-people sales, phone sales, email sales, any other type of sale that you could imagine, it's out there for you. So with all these resources, there's no reason you shouldn't at least know what you're talking about when it comes to making a sale or trying to close a sale or how to talk to somebody about your product. Sorry, I'm going to open this real quick. One of our salespeople recommended that I drink beers while I do these video blogs, which I couldn't argue with. This is actually Sweetwater's Wookie Down Imperial Red Ale. This was out of their Dank Tank. They sent it over several months ago. I was really excited to get this. It tastes wonderful, and this is the last one I have, so I'm holding it out for you guys. It's good. Anyhow, so that was step 1. You've got to focus on understanding sales, understanding what you're doing. It's the most important part of your business, so that means you have to build infrastructure. While you're a growing brewery, what it's important to do and what you're probably focusing on is developing great quality beer. That's fine, and you need to be doing that because that's the essence of our business and the essence of everything that we're trying to do. However, when you want to expand and when you want to decide, I want to make this beer, I want to make a great beer, and I need to be able to sell it, that's right into the sales function. I believe some of the best salespeople I've ever met at a brewery start at the tap room. Especially small breweries that may not have a distribution arm, sales is still important. And when you go to interview somebody to be your taproom manager or a new person to work behind the bar while you're away, it's important that they can sell. It's important that they can talk clearly to your customers about what they like, what you do, and why you exist. I'm over some of these conversations I have when I go into a new brewery and I say, hey, what do you recommend? What do you think's good? And I get this blank stare of, we don't recommend things. And I know that that's, safe because you don't want to recommend something to somebody because you don't want them to really hate it. But at the same time, when somebody comes and asks what do you like? What is your favorite? It's something, it's a way that you would communicate with somebody as opposed to just giving them a blank stare. Even if you don't want to necessarily recommend something, giving somebody a blank stare is not necessarily ever going to get you to that next step. So I believe that your first real hire behind your tap room is your first real salesperson, unless you start with a distribution arm doing contract brewing or anything along those lines, at which point You need to focus on having a person that can actually talk to people, and you're going to really want somebody that not necessarily clicks with you, but can click with the person behind the bar when they walk in to get tap space, or when they want to call upon a distributor or anything along these lines to try and get you more sales. One of the things I picked up, I was looking at Inc.com, and it had two things that you really needed to focus on when you're hiring the right salesperson, which can be really hard. A lot of companies have a lot of turnover in sales, especially early on before they really get comfortable. This one, the first thing you need is perseverance. When somebody tells your salesperson no, no's not an option. They need to have a good response, a good way of going back and forth with the client and helping the client understand what's wrong and understanding how they can help you, how closing the sale can actually help. So one experience that I had, and this was several years ago, and it was when I was purchasing a vehicle, while vehicles aren't the same as beer sales, people get excited to buy a car just the same as they do as buying your beer. Well, I had a guy that wasn't necessarily excited with the idea that I didn't like the price that he was giving me. So he had gotten frustrated with me. He had, gave me a thank you, gave me a really hard handshake, and just walked off. That was sales mistake number one. I had not even really told the guy no. I was just kind of going back and forth negotiating with him, yet he took it as a no, and it wasn't going well in his favor. So you need somebody with perseverance, somebody that can hang in the game. When you get that no, somebody that'll follow up and have something, creative to say back to them, to keep the conversation going. People buy from people they like. They don't just buy because they want to buy. Some people will buy your beer because they want to have the most new and innovative beer on their tap, and you may be the newest and best brewery that's walked in their door lately. But most chances, you're going to buy from somebody that you have a good relationship with, and that's the salesperson that you need. They need to have great relationships and be able to develop great relationships. Perseverance comes through that. You need somebody, when they hear no, they can be okay with that, internalize it, let it go, and then move on through the sales process. The last thing you also need is somebody with a strong emotional IQ. That's going even further into the no process. No's hard for people to hear. And when you hear no, it can create all sorts of thoughts in your head. Maybe your product's not good enough. Maybe you're just not doing something right. Maybe you said something wrong. And you start running through all these things in your head. But if you have a strong emotional IQ, you can really calm down, think about, why they said no. Ask questions. The best thing that you can ever do in a sales strategy is ask questions. What do we need to have that maybe you're looking for? Did I not present you as something that you feel is valuable enough? Is there anything that you would like to see from other companies in the industry that maybe we don't have? And that's one of the biggest steps. The hardest thing amongst sales is the hiring process. It's hard to find somebody that, can stick with it through the long haul, get excited and stay excited and help your business grow and, help you thrive and things like that. When you find somebody like that, it's vital that you hold on to them. And that kind of starts with, the next step, which is training. You have to train your salespeople. That's why you read these books and try and help yourself understand what the most important aspects of sales are, so that when you talk to your sales team, you actually have something to convey. Last year in the fall, when I was out at Rogue, I was talking with Brett Joyce, their president, when we were doing the cover story. And Brett said something unique that I really didn't expect coming from him. But he said he had gone in and given a presentation to their sales force. And I kind of stepped back for a second. I said, well, is that really your spot in the company? And he goes, no, not really. He goes, but my dad was very passionate about this company. I'm very passionate about this company. I understand sales and marketing. Although it's not my role in this company, I understand why they're here. I understand what they're selling and why they're selling it better than probably anybody else in the company does, because that's his job, that's his passion, that's his family. So, you can, even if you aren't the best salesperson technically, this is still your company. This is still your bread and butter. This is still up to you to be able to sit there and explain to somebody why you love this company, why it's so important. So, no, you may not be able to give them, a 10-point breakdown of how you should sell your product, but you should be able to convey to them the passion and the energy behind why you designed your brewing company, why you designed any part of your business, why you made the beers that you did, on and on and on. And it should come straight from your heart. This is the important stuff. And this is not why you're a good salesperson. This is why you're a good salesperson, rather. You are a good salesperson because you can convey exactly what's coming from inside, why you're doing what you're doing, why you've created what you've created, and most importantly, who you are. Because who you are is what your brand is. Now, when you go and you try and convey that to a salesperson, they're not going to have the exact same oomph that you will, but you will be able to convey this out, and you're going to be able to take part of that passion and pass it along to your sales rep so that they can become more and more energized about your brand, which is going to help them sell. And the last piece that I want to talk about is cultivating. We talk a lot about the monetizations of business and how you monetize your business, how you develop sales. Where do you find sales points in your business? How do you hire salespeople? How do you train salespeople? These are a lot of things that people talk about on a regular basis. But something I don't think people talk enough about is cultivating your employees, cultivating people and making them better, making them love what they're doing. Not all of us have great days. Not all of us are, having the best times of our lives every single day. Not all of us started a brewery. Not all of us own a business or anything like that. Not everyone wants to. Some people don't want to go through the hassle. It can be a pain in the butt, as you know. But for those of us that do, it's important to make yourself a great leader and help cultivate your salespeople, everyone inside your business. Help make them better. A lot of times that can start with just asking questions, especially with sales. One good question that you can always ask any salesperson is, what kind of comments are you getting lately? What kind of feedback are you getting? What kind of emotional responses are you getting about our business? What do people think about our brewery? What do people think about, the product, the packaging? You can just kind of talk about it, because that's the stuff that they're hearing. These are the concepts that they're talking about a lot. And this is, it's not anything new. A lot of people do ongoing training, but it's important. Sorry about that. It's important that you can help make people better. Everyone wants to grow. Everyone wants to, become a better life hack. And, a lot of times that's one of those things where, you've got to work to help them get there. You've got to make them better at what they do, make their job easier. And a lot of times making a job easier isn't taking away responsibilities, but making someone better at the responsibilities they carry. And, that's basically what I would say in creating a long-term salesperson or a long-term person that can lead your sales department. It starts with understanding your business and becoming a good salesperson for your business. If you notice any of the Jim Cook commercials that he did with Samuel Adams early on, when he talks about, selling the passion of the Boston Lager and his passion for the Boston Lager. He was the original salesperson, and that kind of helped when he would hire a salesperson. He can convey that passion on down the line. Selling beer is your monetization factor, but you're going to have to hire salespeople. You have to train salespeople. And then most importantly, you have to cultivate them so that they can get better and better and become better employees. They'll love their jobs, and they'll stick with you forever. So basically, that's how sales should work. And that's my 2 cents. As I said, we spend a lot of time talking about sales. I'm not the best salesperson in the world, but I can tell you why Brewer Magazine is one of the greatest publications ever to be created, especially in my mind. And, it's one of those situations where sales comes from the heart, and you have to make people really believe in what they're doing. Somebody said recently to me that, they love what they sell because they believe in it and they think that it's a good product. That's what you want. You want a salesperson to believe as strongly in the product that they're selling as the person that designed it. So anyways, hope you all have a good time. As always, tell us what you're thinking in the comment section below. Hit subscribe, and hope you're all having a good time. Cheers.